This week, a couple members of our Slingshot family lost somebody that was really near and dear to them. Our league founder, Ellis Thomas, and his dad, Paul Thomas, both lost their mother and wife, respectively. And tonight's race is dedicated in her honor and for them. Tonight's race, Pine Mountain Auto Supply presents the Jan Thomas Memorial. We hope that you enjoy the show.
If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Series from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. We're bringing you live racing action in the Xfinity B-Class cars from AUTOCLUB Speedway for the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Chris, just briefly before we jump into it, very touched, very moved. It's been a tough weekend for my family and I, but I can't think of anything better to take my mind off of everything and take Dad's mind off of everything than running this race and doing what we both really enjoy. So let's get down to it. AUTOCLUB Speedway, nestled in the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains, once housed the colossal Kaiser Steel Mill, a thriving industrial powerhouse staffed by 10,000 employees. It was born in the crucible of World War II, and it stood as a pivotal wartime asset dedicated to crafting the very steel that fortified the warships of that era. In 1997, they built a whole new track over what used to be the steel mill, just 20 years after it shut down. Tonight, we're going to let those engines rip, and we're going to be hitting some pretty high speeds. Chris, cinema buffs might recognize the site from its most prominent role, the final battle scene in the second Terminator film with Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1991. What are drivers going to have to do to ensure that their race isn't terminated early tonight and that they have a chance to make it to victory lane at the end of these 87 laps?
Well, AUTOCLUB Speedway has always been a track that promotes long runs and generally goes for a long green flag run at some point. And I think that tonight we'll see that. After a tough race last week where we did not see many long runs, I think that Slingshot drivers will be looking to get more into the swing of things. We got 87 laps around the AUTOCLUB Speedway tonight. 41 cars here to take part, and very high tire degradation is expected. I think it's going to be a great show, and I think that we're in for a great treat tonight.
Absolutely. We're going to talk a lot about these stories, and we had some technical difficulties in the beginning getting this stream started, so we're going to forego the national anthem tonight in lieu of some storylines to get our viewers set up for the race. So when we talk about AUTOCLUB, you mentioned these high-speed corners, Chris. You mentioned the danger that a lot of drivers are going to be facing going into it. You mentioned cleaning it up. That's our number one storyline, cleaning it up from Daytona. We all want to forget about it, right? It happened. Jacob Bradley had a great win. Steve Karosik came out of it, our points leader, but we want to clean it up tonight, and I can't think of a better track than AUTOCLUB, where drivers are going to be at high speeds, but they might not be as close as they were at Daytona. So let's hope that we can have a cleaner race tonight. I really don't have any doubts that we will, as we watch Rye Jones in that beautiful paint scheme honoring my mom drive through the corner in his qualifying lap. Another big story, Chris, Justin Wilson. He has decided to return to Slingshot Racing. You and I have raced him a couple times. In fact, he is the inaugural champion of Slingshot Racing League, and he's back in that familiar white, purple, and green parrot head paint scheme in honor of Jimmy Buffett, who passed away last week. What do you expect to see out of Justin and I? know you raced with him in the practice race on Sunday night. What can we look forward to from him?
He's going to be fast tonight. I can just tell you, if he's anything like he was on Sunday night, and we know Justin's always fast, and of course he goes to the top of the board here in qualifying already. So he's got really good long run pace here. Gets through 3 and 4 exceptionally well. So I think he's going to be one that you're going to have to beat if you want to find yourself in victory lane at the end of the night tonight.
Absolutely. And speaking of victory lane, last week's winner, Jacob Bradley, did make it to victory lane. But if we look at the point standings coming into tonight, Jacob Bradley is, inconspicuously not your points leader because of this new element we've added to Slingshot Racing called stage points. Steve Karosik racked up a whopping 15 stage points last week, with Jacob Bradley only getting one. Tonight, after lap 41 is over, the top 10 will be awarded stage points, with the winner of the stage getting 12, second place getting 9, and then 1 point increments down from there. And you can see, Chris, that makes a difference in the point standing. So drivers are really going to have to think about when they're going to pit, and whether it's worth staying out a little bit later on old tires to get those bonus points. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how those are going to shake up the standings and really kind of shake up drivers' heads a little bit as they think about what their strategy is going to be. Heading back into those stories that we are looking at to try to set up this race for our viewers, tire wear. You mentioned it. We talked to some drivers in pre-race, talked to the drivers from Placeholder Racing. Tire wear is critical. What did you experience Sunday night when you took to the track?
You can really beat them up and abuse them early in the run. That's going to be the time where you have to manage them the best. If you try to jump out there really quick and lead early on, you're probably going to destroy them. I'm gonna be really curious to see what lanes people decide to take. When I would run the top in 1 and 2, because I think that's the end of the track where you do have some options. I would really eat through the tires a lot quicker up there. But I don't know what we're going to see as far as people doing that for the long run. We didn't get a chance to see everybody's qualifying lap, but yeah, I'll be curious to see what lines people run and how they decide they're going to try to manage that tire wear.
It's going to be an exciting one. Hey, we've already got some fans in the chat excited about this. Appreciate King Starger, Sheriff Racing, Don Hilbrun's in the chat right now. Will's in the chat. Got a lot of people. A couple people mentioned the Star Spangled Banner absent from tonight. We did have some technical difficulties getting the race live, so we decided to forego that in lieu of some storylines to get everyone set up for the race tonight. Right now, qualifying is over. The race is going to get underway here shortly. We're going to go through the grid here to set this race up. And right now, your starting lineup, winning the Evan Pienta Pole Award, Chris, Justin Wilson, you mentioned it, no surprise, with a heater of a lap. Going to be starting on the Evan Pienta pole. Driver with the most poles at the end of the season is going to get a free designed paint scheme from Evan Pienta Designs. So we'll look forward to seeing who that is at the end of the season. His payday teammate, Randy Bechtel, starting second on the outside of row 1. Row 3, Scotty Sobczak in that Pine Mount Auto Supply car tonight. Jacob Bradley, last week's winner, starting 4th. Patrick Colby had a good run going last week as well. Got taken out in some crashes. He is going to be starting 5th. Wesley Pistol also had a decent run last week, running that smoky gray Tennessee paint scheme tonight. Chris Pierce in the Apex Energy Supra starting 7th. Jeremy Richmond looking to get back in good form tonight after a struggle last week, getting caught up in some incidents not of his own making in the 98. 9th, Scott Tompkins, welcome back. Scott driving that Pavlaki car. Zachary Lima 10th. Steve Karosik, 2nd place last week. Your points leader starting 11th. Dan Rose starting 12th. Lee Campbell looking for another good run tonight in the 13th slot. Christopher Darling in the Beer Street Journal 11 car starting 14th. Rye Jones in the Jan Thomas Forever car starting in 15th position. Evan Pienta starting 16th. Ryan Hinkle 17th. Jacob Chase 18th. Tony Hilbrun's looking to see if he can put together a good run tonight at Auto Club starting 19th. Patrick Piper starting 20th. James Suggs in that woo-woo car starting in 21st. Steve McDonald 22nd. James Danforth starting in 23rd. Nick DeCesare starting 24th. Josh Ward starting 25th. We're going to go ahead, scroll through the rest of the qualifying lineup there, see where your favorite driver is starting tonight. And I do believe that the race officials went ahead and planned something special tonight. For my mom, Jan Thomas, we've got several decals on cars honoring Mom. We've got a couple paint schemes honoring Mom. But it seems like there was also a plan that I can't tell fans and tell everyone watching how much I appreciate that they're going to let my dad run a pace lap out in front of everyone else to honor Mom. I know Dad is really had a hard time, but he's managed to continue to race, and he loves doing it. So, this is a really special moment to see them allow Dad to run tonight. I wanted to say a word or two about my mom. When I found out, we came to Alabama immediately, and one of the first things I did just to be close to her was to look through her desk, which she loved to paint at. And I found a little note on the inside. She liked to take notes when ideas came into her head. And one of the notes said, "The most valuable possession someone can own is an open heart." And that really stuck with me. And I say this because this is what Slingshot Racing was kind of founded upon, a place for everybody, no matter what your skill level is. If you come in with a positive attitude and want to love each other and race each other cleanly and fairly and be part of a great community, Slingshot's the place for you, and that's why we did this. And I thought that was really fitting, and I'm really proud that Jan Thomas was my mother, and I know Dad is proud to be her husband. So, for everyone watching, for everyone that helped put this event together and all the special tributes to her tonight, I know she would be proud, and I can't say thank you enough for making that happen. I know Dad is proud, and Dad is doing what he loves right now, and I'm glad we can both kind of take our minds off of it just a little bit. So thank you, Chris. I know you were kind of instrumental in pulling that together as well. So,
well, yeah, I wanted to do something to let both you and your dad know that there's a lot of people in Slingshot that are thinking about y'all during this this time right now. And I knew your mom really well, and I'm gonna miss her. And I wanted y'all to know that there's a lot of people here that care for y'all. I want to give a special shout out to Sam Maxwell, our race controller, for helping put this together. I've been chatting with him the last couple of days. Also want to give a special thanks to a few other people in the league, specifically Rye Jones, Johnny Rapp for designing some of the graphics that you see on the cars. Also want to give a special shout out to Evan Pienta for helping redesign the race logo, and for Scotty Sobzak being willing to change the name of the race tonight. So there's a lot of people pulled together that to really make this happen.
Absolutely. And hey, let's hope the racing tonight is as good as that tribute as we get the pace car lights to turn off. We're one lap away from taking the green flag here at Auto Club Speedway for race number 2 of the Apex Energy season. Chris, Justin Wilson starting on the pole. His payday teammate Randy Bechtel right beside him. We're going to see how this goes early on. I know we saw a lot of aggressive racing early on at Daytona. I think maybe these drivers got that out of their system. They realized, hey, we got a 15 race season that is going to go on for a couple months. These races aren't sprint races. And I know Justin Wilson is excited to be back in the seat. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with, as you mentioned tonight. I'm just looking at the numbers. I pulled up some stats on him before we got going. Justin Wilson, 1 start in Slingshot Racing at Auto Club, 1 win. He's batting 1,000% right now, 1 for 1. Looking to see if he can keep that going as we head into what will be his second race with Slingshot Racing League here at Auto Club. Getting ready to pull those belts tight. Pace car lights are out. He's about to duck down into pit road.
Oop, they turned him back on.
Oh.
Sam's just trying to keep us honest.
Yeah, going to give us a little bit more time to talk about what to expect. I want to talk about a couple other drivers. Chase Berry, start way back at the back, I believe. 39th. Chase Berry has 1 pole but no top 5s in 2 starts here at Auto Club. So I know he's going to be eager to probably take it easy tonight. This is kind of classic Chase Berry style on that 17 car. Starting at the back, he talked about saving tires. I know in pre-race, Chris, we talked about how important those tires were going to be. Even though we've got 4 sets over the course of the evening, Auto Club is notorious for wearing tires. It's kind of an older track. The surface, at least, is older, and that really rough concrete can chew up some rubber over the course of the evening. So
it really can. It really can, and joining Chase Berry in the back here, we've also got Johnny Rapp starting 30th here tonight. I'm pretty sure Johnny did put down a qualifying run, as did the 57 of Josh Ward. So we got some heavy hitters. I think it speaks to just the level of competition that we've got in the field this year here in the Apex Energy Series.
Yeah, I look at it, when we put this field together, Chris, I could probably count at least 10 to 12 drivers I thought could have legitimate chances at the championship. It is a stacked field. The I ratings are up there. And I'm looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to tonight. Pace car is going to peel off, waiting for that green flag to come out. Justin Wilson leads him down. The green flag unleashes the field for the start of the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Wilson and Bechtel head down into one side by side. So many drivers. I see 3 wide back there. Bechtel and Wilson running 2 wide up at the front. Bradley and Sobzak right behind them. Look like we're going to straighten out single file here. Randy Bechtel hanging tight on the outside right quarter panel of the 58. Bradley going to take a look underneath Bechtel here, potentially. Might cut his payday teammate a little bit of slack as they head through turn 4 and back onto the front stretch to complete lap 1. Bradley looking underneath his teammate. Bechtel not going to have the momentum to clear him, though. He's going to duck in line in 3rd place. Right now, Wilson, your leader. Bechtel 2nd. Bradley 3rd. Sobzak 4th. Patrick Colby rounding out your top 5 in that number 9 car tonight. Some pretty good action back there in the field right now.
Oh, some contact there. It looks like Evan Pienta tagged the wall there coming off turn 2.
Yeah, definitely a little contact. Evan is one of those drivers, Chris, who will push it to the limit and will not shy away from getting close to the wall as we watch that number 55 car. And Evan manages to keep going. These Xfinity cars, these composite bodies can take a little bit of a beating through some of these corners. So right now, back at the front, though, Randy Bechtel getting passed by Jacob Bradley on the outside. Battle for 2nd place. Bradley seeing if he could work that high line, Chris. In the pre-race, we talked about the importance of what line was going to be fast. And right now, we see that 60.
Oh, we got a caution.
Getting a pretty good run off the corner. But you're right, caution is out on lap number 3. Looks like James Suggs might have been the culprit in that. I can't see who that is on the front straightaway right now.
It's Ben Keast in the 85. We'll go back and we'll see if we can find out what might have happened to Ben.
See if we can return to the scene of the crime here.
All right. Oh, we just missed it a little bit. He was already around. It's like he went for a slide through the grass here, and oh, he got in a tank slapper, and he fought it for a long time.
Yeah, yep. It's kind of a slow disaster happening there, unfolding.
Yeah,
that's just couldn't save it.
Yeah, that was. Looks like Tony Caputo moved low to try to make a pass. I think that's on the number 3 car of Chris Campbell. Unfortunately, there was a driver to his inside, and Ben Keast did nothing wrong there. Just unfortunately, Tony Caputo was not clear when he moved down into the path of Ben Keast.
Hey, Keast fan 85 is watching. He says, sorry, Keast. So Keast fan not having the race go the way he would like right now. Got a couple other. I know we got Maddox19 in the chat rooting for Lee Campbell right now. Matt Scherf watching along. Chris, he's saying, we don't save tires in Slingshot Racing League. No way. We know that is a little bit of sarcasm on Matt Scherf there as we watch the pace car collect the leaders. Right now, headed on to the front straightaway. Hey, now's a good time to hear from our sponsor of this race. I don't think we're going to have any takers on pit road other than some guys running in the back right now. So let's go ahead and hear from Pine Mountain Auto Supply. This race is brought to you by Pine Mountain Auto Supply. It's a Napa Auto Parts affiliate in Big Oak Flat, California, the gateway to Yosemite National Park. It's locally owned and operated since 2020. This location serves the community of Greater Northern California. More than just parts, Pine Mountain Auto Supply also offers high-end knives as well as fine cigars from top brands such as Perdomo, Tatiana, and Southern Draw. Check out PineMountainAuto.com or shop the web at NapaOnline.com. And Chris, one of our very own, Scott Sobzak, owns Pine Mountain Auto Supply, and I know those locals love seeing those race cars parked out in front of the shop. So, great place. We appreciate their support for this race. And yeah, if you're in Northern California, gateway to the Yosemite Valley, go ahead and check them out as we watch that fine-looking number 81 cruise down the backstretch at Auto Club as we kind of get ready to re-rack them here.
Yeah, we'll play
Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, we'll play a little ad that to show you some of the parts that you would get at Pine Mountain Auto Supply.
Absolutely.
If the open road is an open invitation, then get up and go. Go windows down. Go volume up. Napa has America's largest network of parts and
We're going to slip in
here to
another
keep
ad
you
for someone
firing
else,
all
too, because
cylinders.
YouTube is unpredictable to a certain degree. So, oh, that is the Napa ad. You had me fooled there for a second. I didn't think that was a Napa ad, and then it was. So, but yeah, Napa Auto Parts, Pine Mountain Auto Supply, appreciate their support for this race. But right now, lights are out on the pace car, and I'm just looking through the field right now, Chris. I've seen Scott Tompkins up 4 positions in that number 25 Pawlacki car, now running 5th after actually 6th, it looks like, the running order, but he's up 3. Started 9th. He is working on a top 5 right now. Looks like he's going to be starting on the outside of row number 3. So, yeah, going to be starting 6th on this restart here. We're coming to on lap number, it's going to be lap number 7 out of 87. Scott missed last week at Daytona. He's raced with us several seasons over the course of our short history. Scott Tompkins, we are glad to have him back in that familiar-looking number 25 car. So, yeah, Jacob Bradley's going to be your leader. Justin Wilson, 2nd. Randy Bechtel, 3rd. Scotty Sobzak, 4th. Patrick Colby, 5th. Scotty Tompkins running 6th. Wesley Pistol, after starting 6th, is down to 7th. Jeremy Richmond, Chris, I know we watched Jeremy Richmond bounce around like a pinball, no fault of his own last week. I know he's running 8th right now, going to be looking to probably keep that up over the course of the night and improve on that. Right now, pace car getting ready to peel off the track in front of the leaders for the second time tonight in the Apex Energy Series. Jacob Bradley is going to be scored as your leader. He's the control car as they enter the restart zone. Bradley mashes that throttle down, and we are back underway in the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Bradley going to lead him down into turn number 1. Justin Wilson 2nd. Randy Bechtel going to be 3rd here.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple guys moving up and a couple guys moving back. That's easy to have happen here. You can really get hung out if a lane has a lot of cars in it, especially on the top, on the front stretch. One guy you mentioned moving forward, Scott Tompkins in that number 25 car. Be interested to see if Scott can keep his tires on his car tonight. He is driving super, super hard on the top side. Seen him making a lot of passes up there. We'll see if he's got the staying power to maintain that pace.
Yeah, we talked about the benefit of that added momentum and added speed on the high lines. We watch him work over Scotty Sobzak right now. But, Chris, that means more speed, and more speed usually is going to mean a little bit more tire wear. As we watch, I believe that's Steve Karosik come up on the back of Scott.
Oh, he hits the wall.
Karosik in the wall. He's going to hold on to it now.
It.
Wow. Save of the night for Steve Karosik in that number 72. We'll see how that shakes out and if his car's got any damage. But, man, that was a hold-your-breath moment for the points leader here early on at Auto Club on lap number 8. Trouble already for the leader, Steve Karosik, dropping through the field a little bit, back down to 10th place.
Yeah, he did a really good job to not overcorrect that. The car reacted like it was gonna swing back, and he did a nice job of not overreacting.
He did a really nice job of not overreacting. Right now, working on Tony Hilbrun's a little bit, seeing if he can work his way back up through the field. Back in 11th right now, he's got Dan Rowe right in front of him in that number 68 car. A little bit loose on entry, though, for Karosik there. He's struggling a little bit, Chris. I think I think there might be some handling issues for that 72 right now. As we watch him get passed by Rye Jones and Lee Campbell simultaneously on the exit of turn 4 there.
Yeah, he was driving really hard there on that restart. He was following Scott Tom. Oh, his teammate got into the back of him. Oh, there's a lot of damage to Lima from getting in the back of him.
Lima maybe just misjudged how fast Karosik was going through that corner. Maybe didn't know about the trouble Steve was having there. And yeah, Zach Lima, hard contact. So we're going to have to keep an eye on both of those drivers, those Dale Cup drivers. Interesting name for that team. But right now, Chris, they're sitting in second in the team championship standing. So trouble early on for Dale Cup, your second place runners in the Slingshot Racing Team Championship. First year for that, and I know there's going to be a lot of pride on the line for who can take that home, but yeah, early trouble for the driver of the 72 as well as the 26. Just looking through the field right now, Tony Hilbrun's, Chris, running in 10th right now. I know Dawn's in the chat watching her boy Tony. He's up to 10th after starting 19th, so the driver of that number 92 having a really solid run tonight.
Oh, we got a caution.
I know. Caution is out. Seeing if we can find out. I think it might be Tony Caputo.
I think it's the 11 of Christopher Darling here. Go back and we'll try to see what happened to Mr. Darling. Looks like he's got the 6 of Steve McDonald looking low. No contact there. Oh, he tagged the wall a little bit, and oh no. That's not good. Oh, and it took out Steve Ulrich and Tony Caputo afterwards. Matt Kuntz also spun to the inside there. No damage at all for Kuntz, I don't think. He's able to get away.
Oh man, that was a vicious wreck. And it looked like he got the wall, he got loose off the corner, Chris. And this is one of the things I talked to some about the drivers in pre-race is once you get loose off the corner, it becomes really difficult to save it. And you can kind of see that. Got the wall a little bit.
I suppose I don't really understand why that wreck was as big as it was. There's plenty of pavement down there. I'm not sure why he didn't hit the brakes here. He never touched the brakes after he hit the wall. I don't know if he has some type of connection, some type of, like a device failure.
It could have been a hardware issue. Yeah. We've seen this happen before when a driver's wheel or pedals disconnect. They have no control over what that car is doing. So I suspect that is a high probability for the driver of that number 11 car as he brings out the caution on lap number 13, which it did involve the 13 of Matt Kuntz, but I think he is able to save. We're watching on board right now here with Chris Darling in that number 11. Going to watch some of the telemetry as we watch that rev bar right above his name.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to go back and look at that one.
Yes, talk to Christopher after the race and get some thoughts on what happened there. But fortunately, it did not involve a whole lot of cars right now. Pace car bringing these cars down the backstretch. I didn't see any of our leaders have a pit stop. Looks like maybe the first car who pitted. I don't think we had any takers on that stop, actually, Chris. Right now, Jacob Bradley's your leader. Justin Wills is in second. When we talk about breaking down this race, we talked about the fuel mileage being anywhere between 35 and 38 laps for these guys. Right now, if they were to pit on lap 13, that would put them pitting again on lap 50. Let's see, the math. 35 laps, about 48, lap 48, which would give them about 39 laps. And I just don't think I think they're probably about 5 laps away from that window where you could make it a one-stop race. So I think that's probably why we didn't see a lot of these drivers come in here as much as they might want to get tires. They got to go on just a little bit longer than the second caution on lap 13.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that, and also if you're up here at the front of the field, you're out of the danger zone, if you will. You're out of danger from any of the incidents that hopefully we're going to see less of this week. We're not off to the best start tonight as far as that's concerned, but hopefully we'll get it together here and we can get some long green flag racing in that we're used to seeing here in Slingshot Racing League.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen this before with a couple of incidents in the first 15 laps, and then drivers kind of get their their bearings a little bit, they settle in, and hopefully we have some long green flag runs ahead of us right now. Just looking through the field, Josh Ward, Chris, he started 25th. He's up to 15th, so he's made some hay earlier, very early in this race. He's got a fast car, running some pretty fast lap times. Fastest lap time for Ward is a 41.8. He's not far off from the leaders, about 10th off. So definitely got more speed than that 25th starting position for the driver of the number 57 showed earlier on in qualifying. So we've become quite familiar. If you watched Slingshot Racing League races before, that number 57 is a new number, but that neon yellow number is very familiar. So drivers right now getting ready to take the green flag once again on lap number 14 of 87 of the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175 for Slingshot Racing League. Pace car going to be pulling into the pits off of turn number 4. Jacob Bradley is your control car, going to lead them into the Geico restart zone. I can hear that throttle up. Green flag is back out in Southern California. Jacob Bradley, single file headed down into 1.
Yeah, I think that we had probably some communication there between the top 3 on that restart. They orchestrated that nicely and were able to get off to a really good start. Ooh, I don't know if Randy Bechtel got a little bit loose right there, but Justin Wilson's going to go to the outside here. And this is what I was talking about before. You see how Justin Wilson, Scott Tompkins, Patrick Colby are all lined up right here. If Randy's not careful, he could find himself possibly getting freight train here on the front stretch if they all line up on the top, which
they're thinking about it.
Yeah, this is how you can lose spots very, very quickly here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy Bechtel holding his own right now down the front straightaway, but like you said, Justin Wilson has a bit of a push. Not too much of a push. Be careful, Scott, as we get really close there to an incident between Patrick Colby in the number 9 and Scott Tompkins in the 25. I think a couple of drivers, including Jeremy Richmond right there behind them, probably held his breath for just a minute as that was a near miss between Tompkins and Patrick Colby.
Boy, Scott Tompkins and Patrick Colby, that's...
No way.
That's like a couple of bulls in a china shop right there.
Those are both aggressive drivers, so when you get those guys together on the track, there are going to be fireworks. And we almost had him there on lap number 17 of 87. Chris, Jeremy Richmond kind of was the beneficiary of some of the tangling between those two guys. He's up to 6th after starting 8th. So good qualifying effort for Jeremy. And he's, Scott Tompkins in the wall off of turn 2. Looks like he's going to hold on to it. Great save, but he is going to lose.
He's got damage.
Several spots, yeah. That is the danger of running up there.
Yeah, he's got damage, and
he's pushing up in the corner as well. Got to be careful. He's going to push up right in front of a handful of drivers, including Patrick Colby, Chris.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I think Scott's overdriving his stuff right now just a little bit. I think you might need to bag it down just a little bit, cool the tires off, cool that right front off, and, get back in the groove here.
Yeah, man, the problem was he fell right into that Hornet's nest with the 9, the 92, the 91, the 7. Oh, yeah, really fast drivers. Yep. Also really aggressive drivers in that pack. Scott not giving up, though. Wanting to continue to get racy there with these guys. You got to admire the passion from the driver of the 25. But right now he is in a hornet's nest for sure as we watch Rye Jones and that number 91 racing right by Tony Hilbrins. And Wesley Pistol, who had a pretty good run last week at Daytona. Just looking at my stats right here to see exactly where he finished. Brought it home 8th, so a top 10 run as we watch Wesley Pistol on that smoky gray number 7. Chris, did Tennessee win this weekend?
They did.
I don't even remember who they played. Let's see if we can find out. I'm sure. I'm surprised we didn't hear about it in the Discord with Wesley.
I know. I was a little bit out of commission this weekend, so my memory's a little bit foggy on all the college football action. I just know the most important thing is that Alabama won on Saturday.
They did. Big win over, that was University of Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee. Sorry, yeah, Middle Tennessee State University.
Yep.
But right now, Wesley doing those Vols proud, having a good run in the 11th position. I know he would like to improve on that a little bit. He struggled. He's down about 5 positions after starting in the top 6. Wesley Pistol seeing if he can get that number 7 back up in the running order. Just looking through the field right now. Chris Pierce having a good run in that number 65 Apex Energy. I know he did not have the run he wanted last week at Daytona, but right now he's doing the boys at Apex Energy proud right now. He must have had some Apex Energy before the race started, Chris. I don't know. He says he's not good at these big tracks, but I'm seeing otherwise right now from Chris in that number 9 slot, driving that number 65.
Yeah, he's doing real nice and holding pretty well, and looks like he likes that. You see a couple different approaches down there in 1 and 2. Yeah, we got a 3-wide battle right here.
4 wide going into turn 3 here. Is anyone going to give Rapp, Rose, Tompkins, and Pistol? It'll be a miracle if we make it out of this corner without a wreck, Chris, and I think we might. Scott Tompkins definitely loose. The 52 and the 7. Rapp and Pistol have contact. Man.
Yeah, Johnny Rapp.
Take a breath after that one.
Johnny Rapp is on some fresher tires here than a lot of the guys around him. Now, we didn't run many laps green there, but Johnny Rapp is on, looks like 9-lap old tires right here, and some of those were under caution, so a little bit of a tire advantage on the 52. I think that Johnny kind of had to do this tonight with his starting position. He started deep in the field. With the tire sets that are available, I think that you can afford to do that. I think it kind of opens that up.
Yeah, a little bit of alternate strategy, right, for the driver of that 52, Johnny Rapp. But, hey, he's having a pretty good run right now. Looking through the chat, just checking in. Sheriff Racing says they love the overlays this season, one of the best broadcasts. We appreciate that. We think so, too, if we do say so ourselves. T-Mac-WDE said that Tennessee played UVA, and that's no slouch of a team, so I know Wesley Pistol's pretty proud about that. AF Pops rooting for Justin Wilson in the chat. Really checking in with a couple other people here. Let her rip Tater Chip, says Bob R7002. Make your Aunt Tater proud. How about that? I'm curious who that is. Hey, we'll find out if Bob R is in the chat. Let us know who that is.
Johnny Rapp in the wall.
Yeah,
sorry
Johnny Rapp. No, you're right. That's why we're both here. But I can see that 52 slow down the front straightaway. The 7 of Wesley Pistol going to take advantage of that. Going around the outside, head into turn 1. Johnny Rapp going to fight back, though. Not giving up. I'm not sure how much damage he has right now on the 52. But, yeah, he's doing okay.
Spoiler is crinkled up just a little bit. You can see it right here riding on board with Wesley Pistol. It's crinkled up a little bit over there on the right side, yes, it's not. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be just fine.
Let's leave it on this graphic hollow view onboard camera right now. Just looking at the roll speed through the corner versus Johnny Rapp, you can kind of see this graphic we've got. This is something that Chris Pierce at Pierce Graphics worked on for us over the offseason. It's going to allow us to see how the driver we're watching compares to the driver out in front. So if you see that red arrow for roll speed, that is an indicator that the driver we're on board with is a little bit slower than the driver in front of them, as we keep an eye on that. Looks like Wesley struggling a little bit off the corners compared to Johnny Rapp, who's pulling away in front of him right now. Great data, though, and there's a tough battle going on behind Wesley Pistol. If we were to look out his rear view, we would see Josh Ward, that number 57, applying a good bit of pressure to the driver of the 7 as he ducks to the inside to try to make a pass here on the front straightaway. And I'd imagine if we saw that roll speed for the 57, it would be a green arrow all the way, as he's going to open up the door for Dan Rowe as well. And this is a battle for the 11th position between Ward, Rowe, and Pistol as they head off into turn 1, getting ready to dash down the back straight here at Auto Club. We are on lap number 26 of 87, so we're over a quarter of the distance here, almost about a third of the way through the race.
Yeah, and you mentioned the roll speed before. Let's ride on board with some contact, the 92 and the 98. That's Tony Hilbrun's.
Tony Hilbrun's having trouble. I know Don's not going to be happy about that in the chat. Let's go back to the scene of the crime here in a second if we can see what happened. You said that was Tony Hilbrun's in the 92.
Looks like Jeremy Richmond was trying to make a pass on Rye Jones. Oh, they're 3 wide here. Oh, and Tony is just sliding a little too much there. He got into a 4-wheel slide there in the middle of, this will be a better perspective right here, in the middle of 3 and 4. And he just slid right up into the path of the 98. Hate that.
Just wrong place, wrong time for both of those guys, right? Because if that 98's not there, Tony probably gathers it in.
Oh, and Chris Pierce got some
that
damage.
Number 98. Yep, 65 of Pierce is going to get some damage. I think Tony got the worst of that, but he might be okay. He might be able to get that repaired. But right now, Chris, I think I'm going to be interested to see what our leaders are going to do. Going to watch pit road here. Everyone is going to come in, and I would imagine it's going to be 4 tires all the way for the leaders, including Bradley, Bechtel, Wilson, Sobczak, and Jones. Getting ready to keep an eye on pit stops here. Who's going to have the fastest one? Who's going to make it out first off of pit road?
Yeah, we saw Johnny Rapp stay out. Looks like Johnny is going to try to take advantage of a little bit of strategy here, possibly, with being on a little bit different tire sets here. Looks like Kyle Dewey also stayed out in the 33.
Couple of drivers looking like they might try that strategy. And when we talk about what these drivers are going to be getting on pit road, they're going to be getting fuel. They're going to be getting 4 tires in this case, I would imagine most cases. In terms of adjustments, have they been working on their car any throughout this race? Is there anything these drivers can do? Looks like Justin Wilson's going to win the battle off pit road. Randy Bechtel going to be second, and I believe Bradley's going to be back to third. So Justin Wilson's first pit stall probably making the difference there for the driver of that 58, Chris. But as I was talking about that, is there anything these drivers can do inside the car to improve the handling?
Yeah, for a track like this, where you're using just a smidge of brake on corner entry, I definitely think that you are dialing a little bit of front brake out as the run progresses, because you're going to be burning that right front off more than quicker than you burn the right rear off here in these cars. It feels like. So you're going to dial a little bit of front brake out of it, put a little bit more, balance it more towards the rear, so the car will turn a little bit better on corner entry. That's probably what most of the drivers are going to want to do. The only problem with that is, how far back can you dial it and still be comfortable?
Yeah, and certainly on pit road, you got to make sure you dial it back up to the front coming onto pit road, because you and I have both been there when we've forgotten, and it is a wild journey onto pit road if you've got all that brake in the back. You're going to lose control real fast. So drivers having to do a lot of thinking here, not even about the racing, but kind of the adjustments they're making in their cars as they're going, Chris, at really high speeds, over 190 miles an hour going into these corners. Checking in with the chat again, and we found out who Tater was. It's Johnny's uncle.
Oh, nice.
Johnny Rapp's uncle Tater is watching, so we're excited for that. Hey, Ellen, my wife is watching this race. If she's still watching, she's probably turned it off in embarrassment. But, hey, thank you for tuning in. Braden Kish, 4 wide is wild. We agree with you, Braden, 100%. Speed Strat saying, we'll see if those old tires can hang on. I think we got some Kyle Dewey fans in the chat right now, Chris. He is going to be starting on the inside. Looks like with just about half a lap before the green flag. Johnny Rapp in that 52 on the outside is elected to restart the race in that outside position. Kyle Dewey is going to be tough down there on the inside, Chris. What do you expect to happen on this restart as we get ready?
I think that you're going to see the difference between old tires and new tires here on this restart. I think both Johnny Rapp and Kyle Dewey are going to be in a little bit of trouble here. But I think they're okay with that because they've already taken a set. I think that this is I think that they're going to accept whatever it is that happens here.
4D chest, they're thinking big right now. We're getting ready for a big restart on lap number 30 of 87. Rapp bringing him into the Geico restart zone. He mashes the throttle. Dewey really slow. Bradley and Wilson contact with each other. Both cars hang on right now. It's Johnny Rapp and Randy Bechtel up front. And Chris, you are absolutely right. when you're on those old tires, they are easy to spin. Just no contact with that patch of pavement underneath it. Dewey really struggling back there in the middle of the pack. Already back about 11 to 12 positions right now. Really struggling. Fans of the 33 probably not happy about what they're seeing right now. But hey, you got to give it a shot. We respect the guts of taking that gamble early in the race. It's going to pay off maybe later on in the race. Right now, though, it's all Randy Bechtel right now in the lead. Scotty Sobczak in second, but the racing behind them, Chris, is wild. Looking all the way back, Justin Wilson's recovered in ninth position. But look at this, 2 by 2 by 2, lots of racing going on about fifth, sixth position back. Johnny Rapp, we can see him struggling a little bit in that black machine on the outside, headed onto the backstretch.
Yeah, and
Jacob Bradley is trying to recover his way through the field as well.
Yeah, we were riding on board with Evan Pienta right there. I wanted to give everybody a shot to see. There's a lot of damage to the front end of Jacob Bradley's car. Don't know how much that's going to hurt him here. He's driving super, super hard here on the outside. We'll keep an eye on the driver of the 60 here and see if that damage affects the handling of his car. But yeah, he and Justin Wilson now are mired back in traffic, and we'll have to see if what they're able to do. Oh, it looks like Justin Wilson's also got some nose damage from the contact.
He and Bradley definitely got caught up in that stack up from the 33 car on the restart. Evan Pienta got a lot of momentum off of turn 2, had to duck underneath that 57. Right now you're watching a battle for the 6th position between Evan Pienta and Josh Ward, both of those veteran slingshot drivers. Ward on the outside, Evan Pienta in that black and blue EPD machine on the inside. Ward's going to get the better of that battle onto the front straightaway, and it's going to open the door for Jacob Bradley and that
the 33's around. Kyle Dewey.
Yep,
but he saved it.
Wow, that's not going to bring out a caution. We're still green here in Southern California on lap 33.
Patrick O'Toole down in the grass, and Patrick somehow held on to it as well. A nice save. Oh, but he does spin. If he gets it going here, oh no, there's a caution.
That is going to bring out a caution. Hey, that was an admirable effort by both of those guys. And a lot of traffic, a lot of tough racing. Let's see if we can return to the scene of the crime here on lap number 33 of 87 and see what happened to Kyle Dewey. Lost it off the corner. Maybe got a little bit of contact from the car up to his outside, though.
Yeah. He kind of wandered up a little bit there. Not sure why he was in the middle here, and then he kind of wanders up here a little bit, and there's a little bit of net code with Daniel Berg. Then he comes down into Patrick O'Toole right here. Patrick O'Toole goes down through the grass. He has it saved. He saves it. He gets down here, and I think he's just trying to keep it off the cars that are coming, and gets a little bit behind on the steering, but he keeps, the biggest thing is that he keeps it clean and no damage, and is able to roll away right here. Let's actually ride on board with him and see if we can see.
Yeah, man. Texas Terry would be proud of that effort. Patrick O'Toole, a huge Terry Labonte fan. You can see the contact there. Great job riding through that grass for the driver of the number 44 Kellogg's car. And once he gets back on the track, that's just when that tire grip changes, right, Chris? And it's really hard to hold on to it.
Yeah, it is. But like I said, you know, there's no significant contact. Everybody can keep on racing.
Couple drivers coming down pit road right now. I'm trying to see. I think that might be. I thought it might be Josh Ward for a second, but it's not. I'm having trouble scrolling through my cars to see who might be running back there on pit road. Only one driver though right now on pit road. Randy Bechtel, Sobczak, Colby Jones, Piper now. Patrick Piper into the top 5 in that number 38 car, Chris. Patrick started in the 20th position. One of the biggest movers of the race, him and Josh Ward, the two biggest movers of the race. Piper having a pretty solid run tonight. I'm looking at his, he was one of the guys who came in on the last pit stop, and he has worked his way up. His times, Chris, Piper has a 41.6. That is one of the fastest laps of the race. So some speed out of Patrick Piper tonight. Just looking through the stats from last week. Let's see where Patrick finished. He finished 33rd. I think he probably got caught up in a wreck But great run for Patrick Piper in the 38 car tonight. He's a slingshot newcomer. We got Scrubs Daddy in the chat. He is excited about Piper running up in the top 5. And we do have a clarification. It is not Johnny Rapp's uncle who is Tater. It's his Aunt Tater. So I don't know what Johnny Rapp's uncle's nickname is, but yeah. So we appreciate that entire Rapp family watching these races. We love to have Johnny, and we can see why y'all keep him around. So, but right now we are on lap number 35 of 87 in the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Just looking through the field, seeing if we're going to get one more lap out of the pace car here, Chris. I think the lights are going to stay on.
Yeah, I think that they'll get the one to go this time.
Absolutely. So we're going to wait to hear from our partners on the next commercial break we take. I suspect we might get another caution. Hopefully not. But remember, this race is brought to you by Pine Mountain Auto Supply and is the Apex Energy Series. And Chris, hey, one thing I want to mention about Apex Energy, they sold out. They've had to order a new supply to fill the demand. So Apex Energy, they're flying off the shelves. We're going to let everyone know when they're back in stock. But if you are in the chat right now, you have a chance to be the Apex Energy fan of the season. And man, Chris, we got a lot of contenders right now who are definitely in the running for fan of the season. All the members of the chat that we've had, if you are chosen as one of the most active participants in the chat, you show up every week, you contribute to the discussion, you root your favorite driver on, we're going to send you a free supply of Apex Energy at a flavor of your choice at the end of the season. So keep that chat up, man. I think it's more alive this week than it was last week at Daytona. So we're super thrilled to have everyone watching. Ellen says hello in the chat. So I don't know where she's watching from right now. But we do appreciate her as we get ready for the restart on lap number 36 of 87. Chris, we are almost halfway through the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Your control car is going to be Randy Bechtel. He's elected to take the outside. He's got to wait till he hits the blue Geico restart zone. He goes, great jump on the field. We're back underway. Here we go. Randy Bechtel is your leader. Scotty Sobczak in that Pine Mountain Auto Supply second. Third place, Rye Jones. Fourth place, Patrick Colby. And man, they are on top of each other. 6th, 7th place back there in the field. Evan Pienta loose, working his way underneath Justin Wilson, who's trying to pry his way back up through the field after getting a little bit of damage on that last restart.
Oh, yeah, Daniel Rowe and Evan Pienta get real close together there coming off turn 2. Here comes Steve Karosik up here into the battle as well. That driver of the number 72, after his early trouble, is showing that there's still some fight in his cars. Well, Pienta tags the wall off of turn 4.
Yeah, that's the second time Pienta's had contact with the turn 4 wall. Karosik, though, Chris, we saw him finish second at Daytona. He's your points leader, but he had a rough first 10 laps of this race. First getting into the wall, second his teammate, Zach Lima, getting into the back of him as we see him work on Patrick Piper right now and Justin Wilson. He's working to claw his way back up through the field. This is just a high-speed chess match out there for Karosik trying to figure this out right now.
Yeah, you got to be really careful about when you try to make a pass on a, I know that, the tires are, oh man, this Karosik slides right up in front of Rowe.
Right in front of Rowe.
Yeah, if, that was super close. But you got to be really careful about how you decide you are going to pass. Are you going to try to make that pass to the inside in the middle of 3 and 4? But if you don't clear them in the middle of 3 and 4, you find yourself possibly losing 3 or 4 spots on the straightaway because of it.
Yeah, you got to really be selective. We mentioned it's a high-speed chess match. You got to be thinking a couple steps ahead, like you said, Chris. And these guys, it's a mental challenge out there.
Jacob Bradley gets hit in the left rear by Patrick Piper. Patrick just completely overdrove the entry to 3 right there, trying to...
4 wide now on the front stretch.
Yeah, Patrick was trying to come back on Justin Wilson there and almost took out...
Oh, Wilson
gets loose.
Into Rowe there.
And we're seeing these guys push really, really hard right here in this... Oh, Piper was. Oh, and there's
there
contact.
It is. Piper and Wilson contact. Is everyone got to hold on to it? Chris, one thing we didn't mention as to why we might be seeing even more contact back in the field. This is going to bring out the caution. Heavy crash in the back between several drivers.
Man.
That's going to bring out a lap 40 caution. And Chris, the one reason these guys are racing like they are, we're one lap away from the end of stage 1, which is going to award several drivers points. And man, this looks like a junkyard in this corner here in turns 3 and 4. Let's go back to the scene of the crime. And Will S says, ouch, in the chat. And boy, I could not agree more. Let's see if we can figure out what happened here. Do an autopsy on this lap number 40 crash.
Yeah, so
we saw this brewing for a while.
Yeah, the 38, the 58, these guys were racing really, really hard around each other, and we'll see if we can actually. We're going to follow Patrick Piper right here since a lot of the action took place around him. He almost slid up into, and it looks like, yeah, he did slide up into Justin Wilson there, coming off of turn 2. Yeah, he slides up into him. He gets it going straight there, but it looks like the 18 of Jordan Ives kind of drove into him after he had straightened it out. We'll see if we can ride on board or actually look at it from an overhead perspective, like from the drone here.
We had it sorted out. It looked like
he got hit.
Just a slow speed.
Yeah. Scott Tompkins actually, it looks like the 18 might have slid. He was trying to react to Piper there, and he comes up in front of Scott, and Scott had nowhere to go, runs into the back of Jordan Ives, and that just made the wreck really, 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 really big. Turned into a bigger wreck than it should have been.
Ives was trying to get by the 38 car, and that it just started a chain reaction, right? Yeah. That's one of those things where it is. It's hard to place blame on one driver, right? Because these guys, the high speeds, we talked about it. The high speeds, it makes it really difficult to slow down as we're watching the replay of this lap number 40 wreck here. We almost had it saved. And I'd be curious to see further back in the field what kind of causes a lot of these drivers to pile in. I know the track is blocked.
Yeah, I'm just sure there was a lot of possibly drivers sort of running all over each other. It's like Johnny Rapp and Wesley Pistol back here. It looks like Steve McDonald, Clint Walker. It's like those guys maybe got into the back of some guys that were checking up. Yeah, Clint Walker into the back of Wesley Pistol there. I think that Steve McDonald drove into the back of maybe Johnny Rapp. Paul Thomas does a nice job to navigate his way through there.
Look at that. How about that? No damage on that 40 car, doesn't look like.
No damage.
And hey, one of the things I'll stress about this, when we talk about a big crash like this, we got to remember these guys are going fast, right? So when you're talking about coming up on an accident, we can say that these guys can just put the brakes on. But if you're right there, 10, 15, even 20 car lengths back, it's not easy going at these high rates of speed. You're going to have lockups and things like that. And if the entire track is blocked, these sorts of things happen. So, it's unfortunate. It took a handful of drivers out, but there's a lot of racing left to go. We're going to award stage points right now. Looking at the top 10, Jones is going to be the stage winner. Randy Bechtel going to be second. Scotty Sobczak going to be scored in.
I'm not sure. I don't think that. I'm not sure about that. You might be right. You might be right. Those I don't know who came to pit road who might have been running in the top 10 on lap 41 though. That's
you are right.
That's the only thing I worry about. But I think that you are right that Rye Jones is going to be the stage winner here.
As we're about half a lap away from the restart right now. After that lap 40 crash took out handful of drivers. A lot of those guys, you can see on pit road earlier, we had a shot of cars on pit road trying to get those repairs made. We're early in the season. Guys are going to have bad races, but they got to stick it out. They got to get as many points as they can and get that damage repaired. Getting back out there, getting as many spots on the track as you can is critical in these championship efforts. So Rye Jones, once again, Chris, we're seeing a leader choose the outside line for the restart. That's definitely the preferred line tonight on the restart, that is. Rye Jones leading them back down to the green, waiting for that Geico restart zone to mash the throttle. There it is. He's going to get a jump on Bechtel a little bit. Takes that car up to the wall. He leads him down to the green. We're back underway in the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175 for the Apex Energy Series here for Slingshot Racing League. Bechtel and Patrick Colby right on top of each other in turn number 2, coming off onto the back straightaway. Looks like Patrick Colby's got the outside momentum on Bechtel. Can Bechtel squeeze up in front of Sobczak? The answer right now appears to be no. Josh Ward hoping Sobczak can make that pass, and he can squeeze on by for the 4th position as well. Randy Bechtel pushing up the track a little bit there. We've seen that happen from multiple drivers tonight, Chris. They're about 16 laps on this set of tires. Are tires fading a little bit for these guys on 16 laps?
Possibly, as Patrick Colby is going to make a power move to the inside of Rye Jones, and he's going to take the lead. And yeah, restarting with older tires, we got 17 laps on this stint right here. It can be a little bit tricky, especially, if you haven't done too much of it. We had a little bit of a green run there earlier as Rye Jones is going to try to make the move.
Not going to let that 9 car go. We just see the Jones and the black and purple car duck down the inside, but he slides up, doesn't give Patrick Colby much room. Both of these guys notoriously aggressive but fast drivers. We got a battle headed onto the front straightaway for the lead right now, Chris. The lead keeps changing hands like a hot potato here on lap number 45 of 87.
Yeah, Rye Jones, little bit of a side draft, nothing too aggressive right there, but just trying to keep the right side of his car close to the left side of Patrick Colby. They come off of turn 2 right here, racing side by side, and one thing that you're seeing is that these Xfinity cars they're not as easy to drive as maybe some other cars that we've raced in Slingshot in the past, like the truck, for instance, maybe even the next gen as well. These cars they're a handful to drive. They're a lot of fun to drive, though, and, this is why we're seeing this good action right here up at the front of the field.
We are seeing some great action right now. Patrick Colby, Rye Jones dueling back and forth for the lead on lap 47. Scotty Sobczak in 3rd. Right now, the battle is on for 4th place between Josh Ward and Randy Bechtel, with Daniel Rowe in that 68 biding his time right behind those guys. Side by side, looks like a little bit of contact between Randy Bechtel and Josh Ward, but we're going to get the better end of that, sliding into 4th place. Now, Rowe going to try to take advantage of Bechtel on the outside. This has been Bechtel's Achilles heel early on in the race. Running that inside, Chris, he's committed in the long run, but in the short run, he's getting cars passing him on the outside. But he's saving tires, I suppose, down there on the inside right now. So we see a battle for the lead. Not going away.
They make
Drivers
contact.
get into each other. Patrick Colby, Rye Jones. Jones is going to slot back at least one position. He fights his way back on the outside on the exit of turn number 2. Rye Jones and Scotty Sobczak battling out for 2nd place here. Jones is going to slide into 2nd place. Sobczak is going to slot back into place in 3rd. Josh Ward right behind him with Dan Rowe and Randy Bechtel. And hey, Evan Pienta, Chris, don't speak now, but he is don't look now, rather, but he's slotting back into the 7th position.
Yeah,
trying to fight his way back up after some early contact with the turn 4 wall.
Yeah, the driver behind him, Scott Tompkins, as well, coming up through the field super fast. Scott is on fresh tires right here. In fact, in the top 10, he has by far the freshest tires, so he's making some really aggressive moves to try to come up through the field and get into the mix here.
Yeah, we saw him have some issues early on with some contact with other cars, including Patrick Colby, I believe. But right now, you mentioned Scott Tompkins. He is coming. He's got a rocket on wheels coming through the field right now on those fresh tires, working over Evan Pienta. Looking further through the field, Steve Karosik sitting back in the, sorry, I'm looking at my screen, the 9th position. He's your points leader. He's kind of had rough going. Been a night of ups and downs for the driver of the number 72, last week's 2nd place finisher and points leader, but he's working on it. I'm looking at his speed. He's not too far off from the leaders right now. Actually ran a faster lap than Patrick Colby, your leader, on that last lap. So Steve Krosik having a pretty good run, but man, this battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th between Rowe, Bechtel, Tompkins, Pienta, and Ward, you could throw a blanket over right now about 4th through 9th position.
Yeah, the battle for the lead is not going away either. These guys right here, they're making me nervous. They're putting the sides of their cars super, super close to each other in the middle of the corner.
Easily the best racing we've seen all night right now going on up at front. And, man, I don't think you could throw a tissue over these 3 cars right now because they are so close together. My gosh, the top 6. I don't even know what to say. This is definitely the closest racing we've seen all night. And, man, if we make it out of this without a car having contact with each other, God bless all these drivers. Because this takes some skill, and we are going very, very, very fast through these corners, over 190 right now. Patrick Colby, Rye Jones, Scotty Sobczak, Scott Tompkins, you mentioned earlier, on a rocket ship right now on those fresh tires, getting by Ward. He's going to duck underneath Ryan Jones here, and Ryan and Scott are good friends, and they're teammates, and I'm curious to see how much the 25 forces the issue right now on the 91. He took the gamble, and it paid off because he is up into 2nd place in that number 25 machine. Chris Scott was gone for a while. He was our race controller last season, but he's back with a vengeance in that number 25 tonight.
He is, and in the past, Rye Jones and Scott Tompkins have been teammates. I don't think they are this season. I think Scott's on a different team, and so I'd be curious to see what they thought about that racing right there, as Tompkins is going to take the lead from Colby here, or try to at least. Colby's got a little bit of drafting help from Sobczak, who is his teammate this season. Sobczak I saw earlier down in 1 and 2.
Oh, Tompkins and Colby. Really close there between those drivers.
Yeah, Scott was trying to keep Patrick Colby out wide as long as he could. That's a tactic right there that he was just trying to make his entry a little bit later to try to delay Patrick Colby being able to turn in, and it worked to get him the lead.
Absolutely, and hey, we've got several folks in the chat right now. We got some fans of that Yingling car being driven by Ryan Hinkle.
Oh, contact between Ward and Sobczak. It turned Sobczak's car sideways. Might have been a little bit of netcode right there, but they straightened it out.
Able to hang on to it. I know the Scotty Sobczak fans will be happy that he is still right now in 4th position despite that contact here on lap number 54 of 87. But we got there's the Scott Sobczak fans. They're coming out in the chat right now. I knew they were there. I just sensed it. We got a lovely day saying, don't sleep on Kuntz and DeCesare. Right now, they're having a pretty good run. Looking where they are. Kuntz is in 21st. DeCesare, where are you, Nick DeCesare? He is in 28th. I think they're having a little bit of trouble, Chris.
They had some
involved in those early crashes.
Yeah, they were involved in those. Matt was involved in one of the earlier ones, and I know Nick was involved in the big one that we had. So hopefully they can just keep on battling and maybe come on up through the closer to the front here. As James Suggs, it's like James Suggs got that outside line working really well. He's another one that pit with Scott Tompkins. He's not charging up through the field as fast as Tompkins is. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's he's sliding right here.
Slides up a little bit. You and I were definitely thinking the same thing as we saw that Woo Woo Garage car working that outside line, Chris. He is right now in 8th. He's up 13 positions.
Oh,
on
contact!
The night. Oh boy, we just talked about him. Evan Pienta, James Suggs, contact on the front straightaway. We're gonna stay at green right now, as long as these drivers can keep it under control.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here.
I think Suggs might have gotten the worst of that one, Chris.
Yeah, we'll go back and we'll watch. These guys were racing really hard right here, side by side. I think this is like for the 9th position. And looks like Evan moved down to get a little bit of a side draft, and I don't see the 20 really changing his line. I'm trying to watch the seams on the track, and I just think that Evan maybe thought that he was going to go lower on the front stretch, just assumed, and he kind of just
dangerous
drove into the side of him. Hate that for James Suggs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Evan was expecting James Suggs to maybe take it down closer to the apex of that tri-oval at start-finish line, and it just did not happen. Right now, working our way through the field, Chris Scott Tompkins pulling out to a bit of a lead. He's about, I would say 10 to 15 car lengths ahead of second place. The battle right now is for second between Patrick Colby and Scotty Sobczak, pulling that Pine Mountain Auto Supply car into second place. That's going to open the door for Josh Ward in the 57 to also take advantage of Patrick Colby, who is on those 29-lap old tires along with the people around him, but he's struggling a little bit right now to maintain that speed that he had early on in the run on that restart. So right now, lap 58, Chris, we're about 29 laps from the checkered flag, but we could not be anything other than settled. This is nowhere near settled right now. So you watch Johnny Rapp in that 52 cruise around the backstretch. A little bit of damage from earlier on that race. Now, I want to mention Johnny Rapp is a consistent guy. This is not a usual scene to see that 52 damaged as early on in the race as we have tonight. So I know he'll be looking to bounce back next week. And Aunt Tater, and we're going to call him Uncle Tater, hopefully they'll tune in again next week to see if Johnny can bounce back strong after that early incident. Right now, battle for fourth position, third between Patrick Colby and Josh Ward. Josh Ward in that blue and yellow car on the outside. See if Patrick Colby's going to give him room. These drivers working their way through turn number 2 onto the backstretch here. It's a dogfight. Going to come down to who's got the most speed off the corner. And that time it looked like Josh Ward in the 57. He's going to open the door for Daniel Rowe, Rye Jones in the number 91, as well as Randy Bechtel back there in the 51 car, Chris.
Yeah, Randy's now moved up to the top. He's trying to roll the top as the 15 of Chris Blassie. Chris Blassie is also on the same strategy as Scott Tompkins. He's driven up here into this midst here of this battle, and see if he can use his fresher rubber here to drive up through the field. You see, like, guys will just, it looks like everybody just sort of spreads out when they get to the corner. What you're seeing right there is, maybe some guys running, maybe lines they possibly don't want to, but they want that clean air on the nose. If you just follow in the tire tracks of everybody in front of you, the car will get super, super, super tight, and you kind of want to just get a little bit of clean air, even if it means running a slightly different line than what you're used to, and that might be what Randy Bechtel's doing, as Rye Jones is going to hit the pit lane right here.
Yeah, Rye Jones is I think he's thinking this race might go green the rest of the way,
yep.
At least for the last 10, 15 laps, Chris. We've definitely had a green flag feel. That could change at any time, but Jones going to take his tires early, and I think we saw Bradley come on the stop before that as well. Several drivers coming down pit road. Looks like the floodgates are opening for the leader. We'll see if anyone comes down this time. Right now, we'll keep our eyes on the 25, the 81, the 57 to see if they're going to come into the pits as we watch Steve Karosik, amongst other cars, work their way down pit road, keeping our eyes on the leaders. They roll out of turn 4 here on lap number 61. No one this time. So Jones, if this thing goes green, is definitely going to be able to make up some time in the early portion of this final run. But what's the downside of that, Chris? It's going to be losing time as the tires are aged, a little bit earlier than everyone else.
Yeah, but the positive here is that Rye still has a set of tires in the pits. He feels like he can make this move here. If you're Scott Tompkins or Chris Blassie, you probably don't feel like you can pit right now. I think that those guys are thinking, hey, I got to run this thing until that caution does come out.
So guys, I'm looking at on what appears to be their fuel window. Scotty Sobczak, Josh Ward, Colby, Rowe, Bechtel all have 34 laps on this tank of fuel. We said the fuel mileage window is anywhere between 35 laps and 38 laps, so they are on the edge of what they can do here.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned Jacob Bradley, he is coming up through these guys right here. He is on these new tires right here, and what he desperately wants to get around the leader, Scott Tompkins, there in case a caution does come out. He would get the free pass right now, being the first car one lap down, but you don't want to rely on that. You want to be able to pass them the right way, because you don't have to line up at the back of the field, and you get a better track position as you see Rye Jones trying to follow him as well. These guys right here, the 60 and the 91, running in 22nd and 23rd right now.
Absolutely. Rye Jones, Jacob Bradley slicing their way through the field like a hot knife through butter right now, Chris, on these fresh tires. compared to some of these guys out on older tires. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. There is danger, though, right? You come up on a guy who's much slower than you. You're not anticipating it correctly. They're not anticipating it, and cars can come together, with just a moment's notice as we watch Karosik try to make the pass right now on Scotty Sobczak, who's definitely got to be getting ready to come to pit road any time in the next couple of laps. Sobczak right now in second place.
Yeah, and he's gaining on. I'm not sure if Scott maybe had a moment in the midst of this lap traffic, or if the tires are maybe falling off a little bit quicker than the driver of the 25 wants, but Sobczak is gaining ground on Scott Tompkins here. He's really got this bottom lane working well. Scott's moved up high in 1 and 2, and I don't know, like I said, if it's because of the handling of the 25 falling off. He got that damage earlier, and that damage, could also be affecting the handling of that car. It could be a little bit tight because of it.
Yeah, I think we saw Scott Tompkins with about 14-lap newer tires in that 25 car, which kind of propelled him up through the field, as we mentioned earlier. But right now, that speed is kind of his worst enemy because he's worn the fresh off those tires. And we see these other cars, even with older tires, catching up to the back end of that 25. It's been a good run for Scott out there. We're glad to see him running up front in that Pawlacki car. They're going to be a sponsor of a race later on in the season, but right now he is definitely kind of paying the dividends, or price, if you will, for that speed he saw earlier on in the run. Hey, Chris, we mentioned Nick DeCesare. Someone said don't sleep on Nick DeCesare. He's up about 9 positions. Or actually, he's running in the 9th position right now as we watch Josh Ward and a couple other leaders pull off.
Yeah, I think we got Matt Kuntz up into the 9th position here, and Nick DeCesare in the 15th position on track. Those guys, they're coming up through the field as we've got a lot of people who have made pit stops. Just to give everybody an update on who has made a pit stop here in the last few laps. You see Randy Bechtel coming up through the field right here. We've already talked about Rye Jones a little bit. Chris Pierce, Evan Pienta, Steve Ulrich, Patrick O'Toole, James Danforth, Paul Thomas, James Suggs, Tony Caputo, Chris Campbell. Those guys have all made pit stops here fairly recently in the last few laps, as here comes Scotty Sobczak down the pit lane.
Absolutely, coming to the attention of his crew for what we anticipate will be the final time tonight on lap 68 of 87 in the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Scotty Sobczak has been in the top 5 all night. This is the money stop, Chris. All these drivers banking on maybe this being the last pit stop. They do have a set of extra tires if there is a caution, but right now, with just about 19 laps left in this race, we are trending green. But as we mentioned, that could change at any point. Scott Tompkins still scored, I believe, as your leader.
He is.
But we mentioned the time that Scotty Sobczak was making up on him before this lap number 68 stop for Scotty. Right now, Chris Blassie. Chris, I just want to mention, shout out to Chris Blassie. I think we say this a lot, but this is a guy that we have seen, if ever there is evidence of the benefit of what we do in slingshot racing with allowing everyone to race together no matter what your skill level is. The reason we do it in part is so drivers can watch other drivers and improve, right? That is a staple and a hallmark of this league, is drivers being able to use other drivers as sounding boards and to watch what they do and to learn from them. Chris Blassie is prime evidence as we watch him roll down pit road for what will likely be his final pit stop tonight. Chris Blassie is evidence of a guy who's gone out and watched other drivers run the different lines, and he's committed himself to learning from them, developing his racecraft, and it's why we're seeing him really be a guy who's running the top 10 every single week, at least the first 2 weeks of this season and the last 2 or 3 weeks of the late model stock car season over the summer. So shout out to Chris Blassie in the driver of that number 15 car.
That's an aggressive move, too, to come to pit road, because I'm pretty sure that is his last set of tires. So he is, fingers and toes crossed, that this thing goes green to the end right here. I think Scott has made his bed, and he has got to lay in it right here. I think that he is going to run this thing dry in the hopes that a caution does come out, and he can put on his last set of tires on that caution.
Absolutely. He's going to be singing that song from Disney's Hercules, Go the Distance. That's what Scotty's mantra is right now, as we are on lap number 71. And Scotty Tompkins is about 17 laps away from going the distance, but he's got quite a few obstacles in front of him if he is going to make this strategy work and pay off with a win in race number 2 of the Apex Energy season. Dan Rowe slowly tracking him down right now. I'm looking at their lap times at the line. For some reason, it was Dan Rowe ran a 43.6. My ticker is all sorts of out of whack right now, Chris.
Yeah, right there in the middle of 1 and 2. You saw for just a second +2 on the roll speed, but then on exit it went down to -3. So I think that what you're seeing right there, Dan Rowe has got a little bit older tires than Scott Tompkins does. They're about 15 laps older, and yeah, it's just hard to match that center of the corner speed that Scott is currently making, as we see Chris Blessey driving by on those new tires.
Yeah, the speed of those new tires is it's pretty evident here over the course of these long runs here at Auto Club. And Scott Tompkins is your leader. Dan Rowe second, about 1.9 seconds, about 2 seconds off the lead right now for Dan Rowe. But we mentioned he is on older tires, so he has got to be getting close to his pit stop here if you're the driver of the number 68. Right now, watching that 68 roll around the track, going a little bit further back in the pack, looking at some cars. 13 of Matt Kuntz, Chris, we mentioned he was having a pretty good run. I'm looking at my data to see how many laps down he is.
Matt Kuntz is currently on the lead lap in the 4th spot. No, actually in the 3rd spot, as Daniel Rowe makes a pit stop.
Yeah, so Matt Kuntz has really worked hard over the course of the race, getting involved in that early incident to really work his way back up through the field. But we do see our second place runner, Dan Rowe, coming down pit road here to the attention of his crew. And just with about 13 laps left in this race, this is likely going to be the final pit stop unless there is a caution. So watching Scott Tompkins continue to see if he can work that lead. But you mentioned he did basically make his bed. Now he's got to lie in it.
Yeah, and we see right here in the 4th spot, we got the driver of the number 6, Steve McDonald. He got some damage in that big crash that we had earlier, right around the lap 40 mark, and he has recovered nicely, currently running in the 4th spot. He's not going to be able to go the distance, though. I think he's in the same boat as Scott Tompkins, Justin Wilson, Matt Kuntz in front of him. Right now, the driver who is going to be the leader, if this thing goes green to the end here, is going to be Rye Jones in the 91. There you see the driver of the number 91. The only thing that Rye Jones wants to see is no cautions. He wants to see no cautions. He wants to see this thing stay green. And he wants to see that 57 car right there not get any closer than what it is. Josh Ward has about 6 lap fresher tires than Rye Jones. So we'll be trying to watch the lap times here, and we'll be trying to see if Josh can make any progress on him.
I think we're going to be watching the battle box pretty closely in these final 7-8 laps. Right now, we just got about 10 laps to go here at Auto Club Speedway for the Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175 from the Apex Energy Series and Slingshot Racing. Right now, Justin Wilson is scored as your leader, but I don't think Justin Wilson... Is that right, Chris? I'm looking at my timing screen, and it's telling me Justin Wilson is the leader, but now I'm seeing Scott Tompkins as leader with Justin Wilson in second.
Scott has not pit yet, so Justin is still running in the 2nd spot.
Okay, gotcha. Mine is seems to be changing every second. Matt Kuntz is your 3rd place driver. You mentioned Steve McDonald. Really good run for Steve in that number 6 machine tonight. Didn't have the run that he would have necessarily liked at Daytona. Finishing 13th. Not bad, but he's definitely working on improving that tonight, but he is probably going to have to come to pit road before this thing is over. You mentioned Rye Jones is really sitting in the catbird seat right now, but Josh Ward probably going to have something to say about that as we keep an eye on that interval between those two drivers right now.
And it's just what you're seeing right here is the difference between. That's why we're keeping an eye on this, because I think this is going to be your effective race lead once all this cycles out. Unless somebody can do something extremely miraculous on fuel here, which I don't think that anybody's got those types of. I don't think anybody can run those types of numbers unless they got an extra fuel line, something that's not slingshot standard in their car.
Special fuel.
Yeah. That's the only way. Is this is going to be the battle for the win. Rye Jones under a lot of pressure right now from Josh Ward as the driver of the 57, inching closer and closer. He's just able to drive so much deeper on corner entry. I don't know if Rye is maybe saving a little bit right here. If he is, it's time to let it loose now.
Yeah, you got to go, Chris. Right now, just about 8 laps left in this race, and you mentioned it is go time for the driver of the number 91, Rye Jones, as well as Josh Ward. They are working on each other right now. You can see this is close. Ward has really closed the gap in these last 3 or 4 laps here at Auto Club Speedway.
Might have been some net code there, but yeah, I mean, that's just so hard to fight against that. Those fresher tires right there, and man, I can't get over how hard Josh Ward can charge the corner on corner entry and still keep the car turning as well as he can. That is really impressive.
Yeah, those tires are definitely paying off for Rye Jones here, as well as Josh Ward, maybe even more so with those runs off the corner. Just about 7 laps left here of action at Auto Club Speedway. Chris, if I seem a little bit discombobulated, my leaderboard is all over the place. So I'm just trying to get the camera over to these guys to be able to watch the race to the end here. So give me 1 second to get that corrected. For some reason, I'm having trouble seeing Rye Jones on the track right now. I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's all right. We'll talk through it here. Josh Ward really showed the tire advantage right there that he had, as well as just, I mean, frankly, he's got to have a lot of speed to be able to do something like that. We talked about Josh at the very beginning of this. We're a little bit afraid that he wasn't going to race with us this season. He was a little bit of a late entry. We're glad that as Evan Pienta tags the wall right there between the 2 leaders. We're glad that he was able to join us. He started deep in the field tonight, and we wondered what was wrong, and clearly there's nothing wrong. Just maybe didn't quite hit it in qualifying like he wanted to. Don't look back now, Josh Ward, but Scotty Sobczak is rolling. He
is definitely rolling. He's running some fast laps out here.
Yeah, he is really, really rolling nicely, and he is passing Rye Jones right here, moving it into what I think will be second spot. But up here at the front of the field, we still have Scott Tompkins leading, Matt Kuntz in second, Justin Wilson third, Steve McDonald in fourth. Those guys are still out here, and they've run, this is now 40 laps. I didn't know anybody could run this many laps, so.
I did not either. Obviously, we've had some cautions in there, right, that have definitely enhanced their fuel mileage a little bit. But right now, just about 5 laps to go in this race as we watch Scott Tompkins work over Clint Walker in the 0-2 down the backstretch. With just 5 laps remaining, the Pound Mountain Auto Supply, we see Matt Kuntz in second, Zachary Lima in third, based on my numbers up front right now.
Justin Wilson in third, Steve McDonald fourth still.
Yeah, ATVO, give me a little bit of issues here, but definitely watching Scott Tompkins try to save fuel. Chris, I don't see any way that 25 car, as well as those other guys out there, are going to be able to make it to the end of the race. Now with just 4 laps to go, I'm looking at their speeds, and I'm not seeing Tompkins really. He's running into the 43.6s right now, but he's still carrying a bit of speed. I don't see a lot of signs that he's trying to save tremendously, at least.
Yeah, maybe maybe our information's a little bit off on fuel mileage, which is possible. You never know, but He's still going strong right here, coming to 3 to go. Maybe we wrote these guys off a little bit too soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, 84 laps of 87 complete. Now we are going to be on lap 85. 3 laps left to go for Scott Tompkins. He is working his way through the field, coming up on his Payday Racing. Actually, he's a friend of Payday. He's not a Payday teammate, but he is coming up on Payday driver Chase Berry in that number 17 car.
Let's listen. Let's listen in the middle of the corner right here. Let's see if he's clutching it.
A good idea if he saved fuel.
Oh, yeah, he's clutching it. He's clutching it. He's going for it. We know that he's not pitting. He's going to try to make it.
So it's either win or bust here if you're the driver of the number 25 Scott Tompkins in that Pawlacki machine. 86 of 87 laps complete. Now 85 of 87 laps complete. 2 laps to go. He's got to hang on. All eyes are on the driver of that number 25 to see if he can make it. He's either going to win or he's going to finish probably last car on the lead lap or worse, Chris, right now. Seeing what they can do here. Watching Scotty Sobczak also really working, but I don't think Sobczak's got the time to get there because he's still battling with Josh Ward in that number 57.
That's what we thought the battle for the win was going to be, and here they are side by side with just 2 laps to go. As you can't even hear that engine running on the 25 in the middle of 3 and 4. He is
doing his best.
Just crawling around this racetrack.
All right, so 1 lap to go left. Is Scotty Sobczak in that 25 machine gonna have enough petro to make it to the end here? He has worked for the last 15 to 20 laps to save fuel with just now about 3/4 of a way around the track left for the driver of the number 25. He threw a Hail Mary on strategy. It's his first race back with Slingshot Racing in over a season. Scott Tompkins has just about half a lap to make it, and right now, Chris, he's looking pretty good. I would imagine if he could get off of turn 4 with that engine still going, he's got to be feeling pretty good about it. He's going to try to work his way up off the top of the track here to coast it down on the front straightaway. Scott Tompkins in the Pawlacki signs, number 25. Hail Mary for the win on fuel mileage. Congratulations to the driver of that number 25 on winning the Jan Thomas Memorial 175 presented by Pine Mountain Auto Supplies. Chris, this wasn't on my bingo card for the evening. How about you?
Not at all. He did a nice job. Obviously, he was saving a lot more fuel there on that run than we thought that he could. And after the way the race started, bouncing off the wall, bouncing off of other cars, I would not have expected to see the 25 in victory lane tonight. But congratulations to Scott, and nice job tonight.
Absolutely. It's going to be Scott Tompkins, your winner. Matt Kuntz is going to finish second, and Justin Wilson in his first race of the season is going to finish third. Crazy finish. Fuel mileage won the day. Great race. We're going to pull these top 3 finishers into the broadcast booth here momentarily. Look at this. This is an interesting shot here. Scott Tompkins and the 3D1M teammates out on the front stretch, probably getting ready to take a nice little photo. And hey, if you don't know what 3DM stands for, it stands for 3 drivers, 1 missile. And Chris, do you know who the 1 missile in that name is?
Is it Scott Tompkins?
You are correct, sir. And he missiled his way to an explosive victory tonight in this race. We're going to pull him into the broadcast booth shortly, but first we're going to hear from Justin Wilson. So give me just a moment to get the Discord channel up, and we're going to see what we can get Justin Wilson in here. All right. Justin Wilson, Slingshot Booth. Ellis and Chris, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, man. Well, first of all, congratulations. First race back. You were batting 1,000 at Auto Club Speedway. 1 race, 1 win with Slingshot Racing League. But tonight you come up just a little bit short in 3rd place. We didn't think you're going to have enough fuel to make it to the end. Talk to us a little bit about that strategy play and how you made it to the end on fuel mileage that we didn't expect anyone was going to be getting tonight.
Oh, I can assure you that wasn't planned. I pitted because when we got involved in that wreck and got all that damage, I just pitted, and then nobody else did except for me and Scott, I think, and And then I realized once the run was going on, I said, man, if this goes all the way, I could cross the line out of gas, you know? And so that I thought about pitting, but then I'm like, I'm so far in the back because of, with all the stuff that happened that was my only strategy to try and get a decent finish and either A, hope for a caution or let it run out. And it did. So I'll gladly take a top 3.
Yeah, man. Congrats. Go ahead.
Being off for the last race I've done here. I haven't done but maybe 1 or 2 races in between that time span. So it's been a while. I'm a little rusty, but we're getting back into it.
Well, we're glad to have you back. We miss you. You're our inaugural champion. And man, the rust did not show tonight. Talk to us about how it felt to be back and race around drivers you haven't raced around. I know we talked about aggressive racing at last week at Daytona, which you weren't there for, but what levels of aggression did you see out on the track tonight? We know you got caught up in a couple incidents.
Personally, like when I was at the beginning of the race, it was fine because, we were all taking it easy. But when I got kind of on the tail end of that bad deal on that one restart and went back to about 10th, it was very aggressive and not to my favor, but you gotta stick your elbows in there and go for it. But I haven't looked at the replay on what happened, but I can't complain. We ended up pulling out of top 3.
Hey man, congratulations. We're proud and glad to have you back. You got any shout outs before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to shout out to you guys for letting me come back, and I know we missed the first race, but we'll see what we can do, and thank all the payday guys, Randy and Johnny and Jacob and Chase, and we'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week. Justin Wilson, have a great night. All right, so you heard from the third place finisher there. Now we're going to try to hear from the second place finisher, Matt Kuntz from Very Racing Motorsports. We're going to see if we can move him into the broadcast channel. Give me just a second, Chris. Sometimes Discord can be a little fun trying to get drivers moved up into the broadcast channel. So give me just a second. All right, Matt Kuntz, Ellis and Chris on the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. What's up,
man,
guys?
It's that was a great race. I'm going to hand you off to Chris in a second, but I want to take just a quick moment to say thank you. I'm glad that you got that paint scheme into second place tonight. I know Mom was riding on board, and proud to see you in that car finish second. So I'm going to hand you off to Chris, though.
All right.
Chris, you still there?
Hey, Matt, sorry about that. Great run tonight, man. We saw you early on run into a little bit of trouble with down the backstretch there, but when that big wreck happened, you decided to come to pit road there and made it 45 laps on fuel. Is that how you drew it up there at the end?
I don't know if I foresaw that going into it, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was my only chance. I went to stay out of trouble, so I kind of hung around in the back at the beginning there. Still got in trouble twice, but luckily didn't really hit anything. So I just, kept it under control, and then just tried to get as far as I could on fuel. I knew it was going to be close.
How much fuel did you have left?
0.2 of a gallon.
Oh wow. Yeah, so doing a little bit of clutching there to try and save what you could.
Yeah, there was a period when I was behind Justin before we were second and third that I just sat behind him, watching the fuel numbers, making sure I could get there.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, it's great to see you have a great run tonight. Great to see you stick it out through a lot of adversity and get that Jan Thomas Forever Toyota up in the top 3. Any shout-outs that you want to give before we let you go here tonight?
I just I'm really proud that I got this car into the top 3. So, I've been there where Ellis is, and my shout-outs to his family.
And we appreciate it. That's
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's Matt Kuntz, driver of the number 13. Congratulations on your second place finish tonight, bud.
Thank you.
Hey, and Lovely Days reminded us. We appreciate the condolences in the chat, but she also reminded us that don't sleep on Kuntz. He said it. They said it earlier in the race, and
That's right.
They were right. So yeah, congratulations to Matt. Now, big congratulations to our winner, Scott Tompkins. We're going to bring him into the broadcast booth. Matt will. I'm going to pull you back down into the waiting room, and you can move yourself over if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right, let's get Scott Tompkins in there. Man, that 3D1M room is packed out right now with lots of drivers. So maybe. Here we go. Scott Tompkins, driver of the number 25 Pablaki Signs car. No offense, Scott, but I didn't expect to be talking to you at the end of the evening in your first race back. But nonetheless, congratulations. You made it work. You were racy all night long. You showed a lot of speed from the very beginning. Talk to us a little bit about the beginning stages of the race where you had a little bit of trouble.
So I got through up to about fourth, and then I was staring at Justin's llama coming off a corner exit. It was just staring at me, and then the wall ate me, which caused a little bit of a problem for me. So when we had that caution, not shortly after that, I pitted. It was like 31 seconds worth of damage. Then I asked the guys, we got the stage at 41. I knew there was going to be no caution, but I was 17th. So I just floored it to the floor, and thankfully that lap 40 caution happened. And I avoided that thing. I mean, I was in the middle of it, through the middle of it, and my teammate Ryan died 2 cars in front of me. And from there, I knew I could make it, so I took my tires again, and I burned it through the field, even though it pissed off some people. But I needed to get out front to start saving for about 2 laps.
Well, the strategy paid off, my friend. The aggression, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and we saw that play out tonight. The fuel mileage, man, walk us through what strategy, or not strategy, we know the strategy, but what steps were you taking to save fuel? And my calculations are showing you on a 45-lap stint. Our estimates tonight were anywhere between 35 to 38. Talk us through how you made it to the end.
So once I got out to about a second lead over Sobzak, I started clutching it for about, 7 laps. Right where he got to my bumper. Then I stopped saving for a little bit just to get away from him, and then when he pitted to try to put more ground on guys behind me. And then, maybe with 3 to go, I clutched for about a lap in every corner and then just put the pedal down, and I ran out on the backstretch after crossing for the checker.
Yeah, we were watching on board, and Chris and I were listening for that clutch, and sure enough, it was there in those final 3 laps. But hey, man, as they say, the clutch was clutch. Good job tonight. I had to do it. Man, congratulations. We are glad you are back in full force. And, man, you showed up tonight. And, hey, I think it's safe to say that, obviously we'll see what happens next week. But you inserted yourself in the championship conversation, at least early on in the season. You got any shout-outs before we let you go celebrate that win tonight?
Yeah, first and foremost, apologies or condolences to the passing of your mother, Jan. Obviously she's got her wings now, and I know she's probably resting easy watching over you and your father going forward. But from there, it's Lee Dawson at Pablaki Sign Company for sponsoring this vehicle. I know he's sponsoring Nashville later on this season, where they put the signs up on that track, so that's going to be really cool, and it's a great thing to be doing here. Beyond that, I got to thank the teams of 3D1M from Ryan, Steve, and Daniel. I got to thank those guys. Without them giving me some lap times, telling me where guys are, I wouldn't even know to save or make more time or whatever. So yeah, and you guys obviously for putting on a great league. I got to thank Sam for being up in the sky. I know what that's like and how fun that is when there's this many cautions. But thank you to everybody that puts this on.
Hey man, we appreciate you. Appreciate the condolences, and yeah, man, on to next week. We'll look forward to seeing you back out there contending for a win. Hopefully, congratulations.
Hope. All right, gentlemen, have a good evening.
Absolutely. Scott Tompkins, have a lovely evening. I'm going to throw you back in the waiting room, and you can move yourself from there.
All right, perfect.
Chris, man, we expected tire wear to be a thing tonight, but I don't think we necessarily predicted the fuel mileage game being as pivotal as it was and ultimately determining the race winner here at Auto Club in that Pine Mountain Auto Supply 175. Man, final thoughts on what the racing looked like tonight. I think we had kind of a lot of things going on. Were you pleased with what you saw?
Yeah, absolutely. Saw a lot of close, hard racing out there. the level of aggression this season, man, it feels like it's on another level than it's been in our past seasons. Puts on a good show. We still had a lot of cautions tonight. Hopefully we can, continue to work on that. It was an improvement from last week, but I like watching fuel mileage races. I really feel a little bit bad now looking back that I kind of, discounted the strategy of our top four, Scott Tompkins, Matt Coons, Justin Wilson, and Steve McDonald. I just didn't think there was any way that they would make it, but man, they did an awesome job, and congratulations to those guys.
Yeah, they really did an awesome job, and it's great to see races like this where speed isn't always the number one factor, and slingshot racing has, become known for that. Whether it's saving tires, whether it's fuel mileage races like this on occasion, man, anyone's got a shot any given week. Matt Kuntz, great job finishing second. Justin Wilson, we obviously heard from the top three. You mentioned McDonald, Sobzak, Ward, Jones, Bechtel, Colby, Lima getting a top 10 in that number 26 car after a tough week at Daytona. So lots of names in the top 5 or top 10 rather that we didn't see last week at Daytona and we historically haven't seen. So that's going to shake the point standings up a little bit, certainly I would imagine, but we'll just scroll through the rest of the results tonight. So folks in the stands watching in the audience on YouTube and Twitch can see where their favorite driver finished. 11th through 20th there, Dan Rowe. Jacob Bradley, Chris, I'd imagine that's probably not the finish Jacob Bradley wanted tonight after starting up near the front and having a pretty fast car. He started 4th. Doesn't come up with the finish he's going to want tonight. I'd imagine that's going to drop him in the point standings just a little bit. But to his benefit, Steve Karosik finished 13th. He's our points leader. So we're definitely going to be expecting a shakeup. Chris Pierce in that Apex Energy Machine 15th. James Danforth brought it home with a solid top 20 and 16th. Chase Berry didn't have the speed that we expected him to have tonight, but he came from the back and did make up a good bit of positions, Chris, with that 19th position finish. So
yeah, I'll be curious to see. 20. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how many sets of tires paydays got left over from Chase Berry that they could sell after this race.
They were talking about that in pre-race for sure. So there's 1st through 20th, 21st through 30th down there. Ben Keast involved in an early wreck. Going to finish 30th. James Suggs, we saw have some speed, but he was involved in about a mid-race wreck that saw him and Evan Pinta collide, and Suggs got the worst end of that. Tony Hilbrun's, Chris, he had speed early on in the evening along with Wesley Pistol, but they were involved, caught up in that big crash midway through the race that took out several of the fast cars. So I know Tony and Don are going to be looking for a better finish next week in Bristol, I believe. So that is 1st through 30th in your running order tonight. You can look at the rest of the field there all the way through 40th. Jeremy Richmond, I want to point out, had a lot of speed tonight, but he kind of got caught up in an incident that was technically Tony Hilbrun's came up a little bit, but if Richmond hadn't been there, Tony would have been able to gather it. We saw this happen to drivers all night long. Jeremy Richmond, second week in a row, has speed but gets caught up in unfortunate circumstances. So not carrying his horseshoe around for the first 2 races, but hopefully Richmond has that horseshoe next week, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, our Apex Energy Truck Series champion, Johnny Rapp, from the spring, he brings home a 36th place finish tonight, not a position that you typically see him at, so he's going to look to rebound next week.
Definitely we're gonna have a lot of drivers looking for a rebound next week. We know we got one drop race that drivers don't have to factor into their overall points. A lot of drivers probably gonna want to be using that one tonight. So great race. We definitely saw things cleaned up, Chris. I know we talked about last week being a crazy race at Daytona, but we saw definitely cleaner racing tonight. I think these guys are starting to feel each other out a little bit. So what we saw tonight, 5 cautions over the course of 87 laps, much cleaner racing. We'll go on to Bristol next week. And, weirdly enough, we've had good luck with Bristol being really clean races. I don't know what it is about Bristol. Usually we see a lot of contact, but we'll move on, and we're going to definitely have some exciting racing to look forward to next week at Bristol.
Absolutely. It should be a great show. It's one of my favorite tracks, and I'm hoping that, like you said, that we can have a a fairly tame race for that half-mile bull ring, even with 40-plus drivers.
Absolutely, and we will roll into Bristol next week. Stick around for just a minute or so. We're going to roll some ads from our sponsors who make this all possible. And maybe part of the aggression we've seen the first 2 weeks, Chris, these drivers are chasing that beautiful UD Awards Apex Energy Series Championship trophy that you can see on our social media pages. If you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, SS Racing Leagues, go check us out. If you're watching on YouTube still, if you're watching it live or recorded, go ahead and give us a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, helps our channel grow. You'll get notifications for all the races. Same on Twitch. You can follow us, help us grow. If you like what you see with the good racing, we appreciate all of our audience sticking around tonight. And Chris, one last time, and to all the drivers who are going to be watching this after, I can't say thank you enough for how you honored my mom over the course of the evening, whether it was with the special paint schemes, what you let my dad, Paul Thomas, do at the beginning of the race. It just is another reason why I'm so proud to be a part of the Slingshot racing community. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And man, not a lot of drivers are going to have hearts at Bristol probably. We're going to get some aggressive racing next week. Next Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern Time, we roll into Thunder Valley for race number 3 of the Apex Energy Series. Until then, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. I'm Ellis Thomas. Chris Smith next to me. We'll see y'all next week. How do we get these one-of-a-kind amazing trophies? Well, we were fortunate to find UD Awards when we started our league. We reached out and we connected with Christopher, and we got started designing these one-of-a-kind works of art. The process was easy from start to finish. After just a few revisions, we finalized each one of them, and the team at UD got to work building each trophy from scratch. They're a small team, but they've got the ability to do just about anything your brain can imagine. And don't worry, if you're not an artist, they've got an entire catalog of unique trophies in pretty much any material you can imagine. Wood, acrylic, glass, and in the case of last season's trophy, metal. The best part, they're affordable. If you're looking for a trophy for your event or league, the choice is simple. UD Awards can give you exactly what you want. Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta. Are you looking for high-quality,